Alright, let's take a look at this particular question. The question says, find the range of values of n. Okay, that means your final answer must have inequality signs because it's a range of values. It's not just one or two values, it's a range of values. So must have inequality sign. Okay? And what is the clue given to you? They say that this x squared minus 2x plus 4 is always greater than this 8x plus n. Okay, now I've explained in class before that for all real values of x, you can ignore this statement. It sounds very scary, but it just means that we are dealing with real numbers, not complex numbers. Okay, so you can ignore this so that it's not so scary. So basically you just need to focus on this. Now what does this mean? It means that you can see on the left side, this equation is in the form ax squared plus bx plus c, right? Where a is 1, b is minus 2, c is 4. Alright? So this is actually a quadratic curve. Now look at the right side. The right side is actually a straight line in the form mx plus c because n is a number, just a constant. Alright? So what I'm trying to tell you is there are many ways to phrase this type of questions, okay, and students always get confused. Alright, so this is one way. Another way to phrase this question is find the range of values of n, so that's the same, right? For which the curve, now they tell you specifically that this is a curve, okay, and they write down the curve equation, does not intersect the line, this one. Now, you tell me why doesn't this curve intersect this line? Because greater than means it's always above. So you look at this as a happy face, right? Happy face. Okay, let's say this is this red pen is this 8x plus n. Okay, this curve, right? This curve, which is represented by my hand, is never ever going to, okay, so represented by my hand, okay, it's never ever going to cut. You see there's a gap here, so it means that they don't intersect each other. Okay, now another way to phrase this same question, and the way to solve these 1, 2, 3 questions are the same, exactly the same, because it's like, hey, what's your name? How do I address you? How do you want me to call you? They all mean the same thing. It's like, what's your name, you see? So find the range of values of n for which the curve is always above the line. Okay, so just now I already explained to you, if this is the line and your curve, let's say, is this correction tape, right? It's going to be a happy face, so it's never ever going to touch, which means it's always above the line, this line. Okay, so now that you know that this phrasing and this phrasing and this phrasing, they all mean the same thing, let us now see how we can solve this question. Alright, now this question, because I know that I am trying to show that there's no intersection, okay, I'm trying to show that there's no intersection, so I'm going to use b squared minus 4ac. But if you remember, I mentioned before that this b squared minus 4ac came from x equal this formula, right? Correct? So this is your discriminant, or like your litmus paper to see whether got cut, never cut, or whatever. So this part, when it's less than 0, okay, that's the condition we are using later. I'll explain again later. There's no intersection. Okay, and for this question is no intersection. Alright, but in order to get started, you must convert, because this equation here can only be used for this, right? Correct? Can only be used for this kind of equation. Alright? So you must convert this, although it's an inequality, you must convert this to 0 on the right hand side, so that the left hand side is in the form ax squared, this is your a, which is 1. This is your B, which is minus 10. And this is your C. I like to put the C with a plus here, then everything in my this bracket is my C. Okay, so you see here, I cannot have 8x plus n on this side. I must minus 8x minus n both sides so that this side is 0. Okay, now what I've done is to change this right into an equivalent form. They are equal or they are equivalent, they are the same. They mean the same thing. Okay, and now can you see that once I converted it into this form, I'm now saying that this quadratic graph or this quadratic curve, okay, is always greater than 0. That means now I'm saying this curve is always greater than the y equals 0, this x-axis. Okay, if you don't understand this part, you can ask me. Okay, so I converted this into another quadratic equation or quadratic expression here, and this quadratic graph is always above this y equals 0, which is your x-axis. This curve here is x squared, y equals x squared minus 10x plus 4 minus n. Okay, now once you have understood this part, I'm going to go on. Okay, so it means that there is no intersection, right? And no intersection, you know that this inside here is square root a negative number. That means this must be less than 0. Okay, now after this, just sub in very carefully. You must put the minus. And why must I put bracket? As I told you in class, you must put bracket, because if you don't put bracket, your calculator will tell you it's minus 100. But because you put bracket, so it's minus 10 times minus 10, which is plus. Okay, so brackets are very, very useful and powerful. Then this is 1, this is 4 minus n. Now be very careful here when you expand. This minus 16, minus times minus is plus 4n. Okay, then when you work out this other part, I want to remind you, when you divide by a positive number 4, because you don't want the 4 here, right? You want only the n. So divide by 4 here, divide by 4 here, you'll get this answer. Okay, so there's no need to flip the sign. Alright, so this will be your answer. Okay, now let me do a similar question. Find the values of p. Now they're talking about p. Just now the unknown was n, right? For which this is greater than this. Now, again, you can see here, this is in the form ax squared plus bx. b in this case is minus 1, plus c. The c is 0. Okay, and this is in the form, you see, this is the number, this is number. So it's just y equals a number. It's a horizontal line. Okay, so they are just saying that this happy face is above a certain horizontal line. Okay, if it is above a certain horizontal line, that means it doesn't cut, right? It doesn't cut. So that's what they are trying to say. Again, it is no intersection. So b squared minus 4ac is less than 0. Okay, yeah, but again, you have to convert this into right hand side 0 so that you get a quadratic expression here. So this is your a, which is 1, your b is minus 1, okay, and your c, I like to write it like that. Okay, minus 9 minus p. I like to write it like that so that when I substitute into the b squared minus 4ac, it is very clear. Okay, let me just do this part first, then later I talk about something else. A is here, and okay, so you square this, then you get this answer. Alright, now I want to tell you that there are many ways to phrase the question. Instead of saying this curve and this line, I could phrase it as, that means I plus x both sides. The question could have given it to you in this form, y equals x squared, and the line y equals to, that means they plus x, so that the x appears on the right side here, then the line is y equal x plus 9 plus p. The mx plus c for a straight line, right? The m is 1 because it's 1x, and the c is 9 plus p. Okay, so they can phrase it like that, but the working is still the same. Okay, make the right hand side 0. Why make the right hand side 0? Because this b square minus 4ac formula only works for this form, ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Okay, now another way to phrase it is always above. Alright, so I hope you understand. Now, there's another type of question that is also same working, no intersection. Alright, it can be always below also. If you see always above or always below, right? Always above, the curve always above or always below. When you see phrases like that, always above, always below, it's always b squared minus 4ac less than 0. Because if I'm always below, that means if they're given it to you in the form minus x squared, set face, right? Set face, then it's always below a line. So again, is b squared minus 4ac less than 0. No intersection. Okay? So this is what you need to take note of.